Inflation's not done, right? I mean, we had the big energy price spike, and we're having the energy price decompression, partially. But underlying, the job market in the U.S. is still pretty strong. Labor shortages around the world. Wage inflation, while possibly moderating a bit, I think is kind of structural. So I don't think the Fed is quite done. I think they've got a couple of hikes left, but I'm sure they're going to be keeping a watchful eye on the impact of their actions on the economy. Corporate balance sheets are in good shape. Consumer balance sheets are in good shape, which means that the economy is able to absorb higher interest rates a little bit more readily than would be the case in earlier cycles that we've seen. So I think the Fed's got a way to go. I think in the meantime, we've seen a substantial outperformance of growth in emerging markets. So when China kicks back in, ASEAN growing at 5-6%, India growing at 5-6-7%, important parts of the Middle East growing at high single digits. This is all going to be a good pickup for the time when Europe and the U.S. slow down. So I think as we rotate from the big developed economies into the rest of the world, growth momentum is pretty good. That should be good for economic activity, but I think it will mean that inflation pressures will be there for a little bit longer. So I wouldn't get too excited about the end of the Fed hiking cycle.
Let's talk a bit about the bank specifically. Everybody knows the aviation unit has got a for sale sign above it now. What I think they don't know is exactly why. Are you worried about the credit quality in that business? Are you worried about the momentum in that business? Why would you be selling that asset right now if you think positively about the economic cycle?
Well, we do feel positively, and we feel very positive about that business. But we're relatively small. We've got a little bit over 100 planes, and it's a consolidating industry, right? So the big players are getting bigger, and they've got some scale advantage. Second, it's harder and harder to own very long-term assets on a bank balance sheet. So the capital burden is substantial. And while the Basel IV or Basel 3.1 it's now being called, rules are still in the UK, they're still in the consultation process. So the Bank of England released its consultation document in December. It doesn't look too burdensome for the aviation finance business, but it's certainly incrementally burdensome. So we just thought this was a good time to take a look at what the alternatives are. So we don't have a for sale sign. We have let's look at what we can do with this. And it's pretty clear that business needs to be scaled. So it's either going to be scaled by us or scaled by somebody else. And we'll review that process and come back with our thoughts.